Okay, so I know right now we're mostly focusing on Michelle Trachtenberg, who played Harriet the Spy in the movie, right? We're focusing on her because of her untimely passing. Rest in peace. Um, and I love Michelle Trachtenberg, and I've talked about Harriet the Spy and how much this movie has impacted my life and was there for me when I was a kid, and I just love it. But as much as I loved Harriet as a character, I also love these two, okay? Janie Gibbs, okay? And Sport, okay? These two were this little gang. Absolutely love them. Absolutely love them. Because I can't be the only one who also tried to draw a little tattoo on the bottom of my foot and then tried to like imprint it on my other foot. Like, I know I'm not the only one who took a Sharpie and did that as a kid. Like, I can't be the only one. And then you had Janie Gibbs, played by Vanessa Lee Chester. And so I watched this movie when I was like 5 or 6. Hello. Like, I'm a little black girl watching another little black girl on screen with her natural hair, literally talking about science and how much she loves science and talking like technical science stuff and just being like really into that and her experiments and like chemistry stuff and like that whole thing and like really loving science and like really being like into that, right? And I always absolutely love that because, hello, she was totally representing for all the black girls who loved school, who loved science, who loved these things, right? And she was just representing for little black girls in general. Wearing her natural hair, the way that she dressed, it was very 90s, very funky, very like grungy. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. You had Sport, Gregory Smith. Love Gregory Smith, okay? A lot of you probably know him from other projects that he was in. I mean, obviously we know Vanessa Lee Chester from other projects as well, like The Little Princess, A Little Princess, Witch, Tearjerker, Becky, if you know, you know, and also The Lost World, Jurassic Park. Love her, love her, love her. And also Gregory Smith. We know Gregory Smith from things too, like Xenon Girl of the 21st Century, okay? He played Gregory on that, and he was amazing, okay? Gregory Smith, he even had his own TV show back in the day on the WB CW, okay? He was lots of places, doing lots of things, right? Okay? Absolutely loved him. And I absolutely love Sport. Sport was more of the shy, introverted character. And I absolutely love that about him. Okay, he didn't have a lot of money. Okay, his friends had more money than him. He didn't really have a lot of money. Dad was a struggling artist. Dad was a struggling, trying to get jobs. And eventually, in the end of the movie, he does get a job. And he does end up coming into money. And it was beautiful. And I think a really interesting thing about Harriet, and I love Harriet, I do, but I have to call her out on some of her flaws, okay? And this is just the movie. We're not talking about Michelle. We're talking about the movie. But I have to call her out on a couple of things because the way that she treated Sport was a little meh, okay? And Janie at that, because the way that she, first of all, called Janie a total nutcase. And when Janie read that out in the park, and she was like, a total nutcase? And just like, was like, bro, you're my best friend. You're my best friend. And then Sport having to have, it read out loud that Harriet just looks down on him and his poor self because she doesn't value him because she comes from money. Right? Like, she comes from money and her parents have these high power jobs and they're always out here, out in the streets, going to these parties, trying to smooth it up and be little Richie Riches, right? And Harriet totally takes her money for granted and doesn't understand that her friend doesn't have money. Because, like, when she came into the grocery store and Sport could not afford to get a loaf of bread and milk, and Harriet had to pretend that he dropped the money, and then Sport felt really bad about it and tried to hide it because he knows his friends have money and embarrassing that he doesn't. And then for her to write that stuff about him in her notebook was trash, by the way. Not cool, girl. Not cool. But I love Sport because he's humble and he's quiet and he's introverted. And I was like that growing up. I still am like that, to be honest. And then you have Janie Gibbs, and again, totally representing for the black girls, love science, who are nerdy, who wear unnatural hair, dressing a little funky. It was a vibe. It was a vibe. And this whole entire movie represented something so pure about growing up in the 90s as a kid and living in one of the last really great decades and just what it was to be a kid, like the vibes of what it was to be a kid in the 90s. It was so great, and I absolutely loved it. And I just wanted to give props to Vanessa Lee Chester and Gregory Smith because they're both amazing, and they've done amazing things acting-wise, and they're great, and we love them. And they deserve their flowers just as much, because while we're talking about, Harriet the Spy, we should talk about them too, so yeah, love you both. And I'm so sorry. Condolences to both of you because you are amazing.